What's going on? It's Kevin Kenny. We are live in New York City for the Build series, and this mic is very loud. Sitting to my side are a multi-platinum rock act that have a brand new album coming your way next Friday, January 31st, and a new tour soon enough. Please give it up for Theory. Woo! Ow! Gentlemen.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to New York.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us here to your wonderful city.
Thank you. Thanks for...
It's cold, but it's actually sunny out.
But, I mean, you guys are, it's funny, an LA-based Canadian band. Do you like the cold still, or has LA sort of warmed you guys up? Are you guys all in LA?
We're all over.
No.
I'm still in Canada.
You're still in Canada? Yeah. Okay.
I'm in Vegas.
Vegas, nice. That gets cold, dude. I made the mistake of going to Vegas
It gets a little chilly there. It's
for New Year's.
yeah,
and
it's not. It's
not
warm.
short weather, man.
Everybody thinks it is. I'm like, it's really not.
Not at all.
I'm telling you, it's not.
You went to Vegas for New Year's?
Yeah, last year. I was working, but it was like a rookie trip. And I was like, oh, Vegas, West Coast. I'm from Jersey. I packed like Hawaiian shirts. It was terrible. It was really terrible.
Surprise.
Yeah. It was a cold welcome. The term soul bearing, right? I think it just gets tossed around quite a bit. But I really want to dive into the nature of that with this release, because for guys that have been doing it as long as you have, as successfully as you have, it always kind of strikes me when I hear a band say, you know, we're finally writing about what we want to write about, and this fear that is not talked about probably enough as a songwriter. But what was this fear? Of
maybe being honest?
Yeah, about you being honest.
No, I'm saying maybe being honest.
Oh, maybe being honest. Yeah,
I mean, it's interesting being a songwriter because you can write about anything you want, and then it's successful, and then you go, great, well, how'd you write that? I don't know. What's it about? I don't know. And you can make stuff up, but when you really kind of, like you said, bare your soul and write something that's very important to you, very personal, then it's really scary because then it's out there, and now for the rest of your life, people know the song is about something very personal.
So how does that fear manifest itself in the creative process? Is it you know, not sharing an idea with the other guys? Is it not pursuing something? Is it scrapping a draft on your iPhone? Like, how does that actually manifest itself now looking back?
It comes from nowhere. It really does. It's a lot of unconscious stuff. Yeah, we discussed a lot about how the news came into this new record and how a lot of the song ideas were manifested from things maybe you picked up on the news, current events. So a song like Strangers, which is all about the polarized politics of America and how nasty it's getting, all of our knee-jerk reactions. So that was obvious, I think. But there were some other ones in there, too, as well.
What was, like, the presentation process like with the lyrics for Strangers? Was that, like, the first... Did you know you were heading in this direction with the album when that song was sort of talked about for the first time?
I think that was kind of one of the first demos that you sent to us was Strangers, and I remember listening to it and thinking, man, he's been watching some news. There's definitely some current events here, and I talked to him on the phone, like, you've been watching the news a lot? It's like, yeah, a little bit, paying attention to what's going on.
It becomes easier. Once you get one down, that's also the nerve-wracking thing is following up to something. So following up RX from our last record, which was very successful for us. Once you get like the first one or two songs down, you're like, all right, here we go. It's almost like the foundation of a house. You don't put the roof on first. You got to kind of build it up. So I think once we had Strangers, and I can't remember what the second song was, we were kind of on our way. Once you send a couple songs to the guys, it's like, all right, here we go. So then it becomes easier to talk about things. Yeah. And then you can see the direction and be like, oh, okay, now I know the road we're going to take. Let's turn left here or whatnot.
Was it scary for you guys to write about politics, just given how divisive things are now? And just, do you feel a bit removed being from Canada, or...
I think like 10 years ago, if you asked us if we would touch upon that stuff, we'd probably be like, no way, we're not going to go anywhere near it. We've talked about bands like U2 and stuff in the past, and, you know, there's this courage that comes with, you know, being a performer, but then adding some kind of activism to it or something like that. So, I mean, I think it's pretty scary, but at the same time, I always feel like Tyler pushes himself lyrically, and I think we all kind of feel like there's some pride in it, you know, like, I think... we feel a little bit of pride in the fact that he's taking on some subjects that people don't talk about. Because we see the people come up and say, thanks for talking about this. It's so nobody talks about it. It's really great. So I think for us, it's like, I feel proud. Like, I'm like, it's awesome, Ty, good job. You went and you tackled some stuff. You're hanging yourself out there, and it's scary, but I think that's that's forward momentum for us.
Well, to that point, how big of a wake up or light bulb moment for you guys was RX and Success, right? Where a song that had a message spoke to a real crisis in America and maybe even in Canada too, but also just had such commercial success as well, a #1 record in its own right. Was that a light bulb moment where, wow, we can make music that has a message, but also just does incredibly well for our career as well?
Yeah, I think not in the beginning. I think when we started this record, maybe because of the content, I think we had been known historically as a band that writes fun rock songs, some tongue-in-cheek stuff. It didn't really make sense for us to have a song about the opioid crisis and the victims of that. So when we saw the how well it did, yeah, the light bulb kind of went off, going, what else can we talk about?
Felt like an open door almost more than anything. It was like all of a sudden there was this pathway to something that we got a glimmer of.
Almost unlocking something.
Yeah, it was like, oh, this is cool. We can make music and touch people in a certain way. It's pretty cool.
Well, because, and it's kind of up to you guys to the extent you might want to admit this, but it's tough when you have, it's scary, I should say, when you have the success that you guys had making a type of music, whatever that may be, to sort of deviate from that, right? Isn't that a bit scary? Does that give you a little anxiety when you're having those success and you're so happy you're on top of the world?
Joe, did it give you any anxiety in the studio?
Yeah, just a little bit, but
Well,
I tried to hide it. But
Is there a story? Is there a story there?
Well, we just when we made Wake Up Call, I think was when we felt like we were taking a lot of our musical chances, and I know that Joe wasn't sleeping all that well at first. Those first few weeks in the
maybe
studio.
I took it the hardest. I don't know because it
Right.
was just such a turn from
Right.
what we had done.
Right.
It's interesting. Oh, sorry, Joe.
Yeah, no,
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh.
Go ahead.
I was going to say it's. I talk a lot about complacency, and it's interesting how you're never afraid to do nothing, right? So interesting how easy it is to lay back and just keep doing what you're doing your whole life, but it's scary to actually go out there and what did I hear? I heard some amazing quote yesterday or something about fear.
Write that stuff on your hand, man.
But what was it, Dean?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to sound smart, but I lost it.
Well, complacency is, I mean, it's almost a invisible threat to a band, right? Because it'll sneak up on you. You don't even realize it's happening. And then you go, wait a minute,
I think in order to grow, too, you got to put yourself in uncomfortable positions, and that helps you grow, I think.
Yeah. When you guys were rewarded, I mean, tenfold with RX, and it's just a huge success. Did it feel like a new lease on life with the band? I mean, at that point, you'd probably been a band, 18 years about? Or when did you guys officially form?
It's about
2000.
maybe 2000.
All right.
Yeah, we
Well,
got
you're not one of
signed-
these bands that, let's say, we were established and it's kind of...
Yeah, it was for us. I think RX was a kind of a rebirth. I think it was. We had some hits before, but this one I think it definitely revitalized us as well in the band, if not for our fan base and stuff like that. So it was, and in hindsight, it's funny because you'll talk to people now and we heard it. We heard that it was a hit, and we're like, we don't even know. Like, we think we know. We don't know.
No, totally. Just getting back to the origin story of you guys. You guys are named after a lyric of your own. Do I have that right?
Yeah.
That's how egotistical we are.
Well, I can't. No, I was racking my brain. I can't think of another really successful act that is named after one of their own lyrics. Because you guys were signed and
Black
you were an unnamed.
Sabbath.
Bad
Oh,
company.
really?
Bad Company. Boom.
There's two right there.
Oh,
Boom.
you're teaching me something.
Yeah,
today.
Black Sabbath. Yeah.
So, but when you guys are signed, you have you don't have a name.
That was the story. I vaguely remember we got signed and they were like, "You guys need a band name," and we jammed in my basement and we had like a whiteboard
Yeah.
and I think we had some song titles on there that we were rehearsing or jamming, and then Dave would come in and put some sort of what was one of the names you had? It was some Dungeons and Dragons
Good one.
name.
I'm trying to think of some. It's so hard to
obviously,
remember
sort
now.
of
Back at
Velociraptor. Some of them probably would have been better.
very D&D.
Yeah, and then I think Dean was just like, "What about Theory of a Deadman?" Because that was one of the song titles. And we're like, "Yes, so thought-provoking." No, we blame Dean now every day.
Yeah.
Did you just have an undeniable song at the time that you could sign this band without even a name?
We just kind of had this different approach, I think, than a lot of bands where we weren't really this band that was, had 3 songs and then was just playing a bunch of shows. We were the opposite. We were not playing shows. We were
Interesting.
all we did was got together and jammed and wrote songs. And I think that was kind of like there wasn't really any plan yet. It was just, let's be together, let's write music, and if we start booking shows, we'll start. And then of course demos got into somebody's hands and things started rolling, and it was all like, man, we got to start figuring some things out.
So funny.
But I think what we had was the building blocks of success by making the fact that all we cared about was the songs. Like, we weren't worried about the band's image or the band name, or those things just were afterthoughts, I think, at that point.
Yeah. Fast forwarding out of 2020, I want to talk about the song "History of Violence" because I think it's a very important song. It tells a story of a complex domestic violence relationship. It also ties into something with Tor that's really cool. But first, tell me about the creative process behind the song.
So that started off with something that I don't know what it was about, but it was the chorus and the city's on fire, and it was I pictured some sort of Godzilla-like villain that was coming through and destroying everything in your life, and then the domestic abuse thing came kind of later, and it created a story about a woman who couldn't find a way out of her abusive relationship, so the only thing she thought of was killing him, which unfortunately put her in prison, which ironically was a freer place for her. She was now free from this guy, but locked up. So it's a great story, and actually the video is actually really good. We're really proud of the video, and kind of excited that we didn't have to perform in it, which is also great.
And then you're also really, I look at it as almost like an extension of the song and the messages. You're doing something really cool with Plus One on tour with tickets.
Yeah, Plus One. That's $1 for every ticket goes to Plus One, which is a charity. And I think they at some point they hold the money, and then we decide where the money goes to.
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Right on. And you're going to do Canada first, and then I think April, May, you'll be stateside, it sounds like. And I'm sure you can get... Are tickets on sale?
Tickets are on sale. You can go to theoryofficial.com.
Nice.
Theoryofficial.com, yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
Right on. Now, do we have any fan questions? I don't know if we do or not. If we have 2 fan questions. Fantastic. This is a live show, if you haven't been able to tell. We're going to go to the first fan. It'll be right up front. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Sabrina.
Hi, Sabrina. What's up?
My question is, what advice do you have for bands trying to make it in the music industry?
Wow. Today?
First things first, get a band name.
Yes.
Put a lot of thought in that.
Dungeons and Dragons. It's interesting because it's different today than it would be maybe 10 or 20 years ago. But I guess the one thing that would be the same would be focus on writing songs. We've seen so many bands, and man, they looked so good.
Yeah, they look like
had
bands.
The hair and
Great band names.
great band names, and they had the pants, but they didn't have any songs. And it's like, you got everything except the song.
They like to party.
They like to party. So, and they really, really good at the business side, like pumping their band and stuff. Yeah, I would say just really focus on the songwriting, because if you got that, I mean, you're 95% the way there. They gave us the rock and roll shower, man. You roll into this,
And we still stunk after.
it's easy to put new clothes on you, But yeah.
All right, let's get to one final fan question. Come from over here.
Hi,
Hello.
Ebony.
Hi.
I want to know, what is some of your greatest influences, like in music, some of your greatest musical influences
Ooh,
of
greatest.
all time?
We're all over the place, I think, here. A couple of us had musical fathers. I grew up with my dad, loved Elvis and the Beatles, and so there's a lot of that kind of stuff in my house growing up, and Southern rock music, Leonard Skinner and the Allman Brothers. And then when it was my turn to start picking my own musical tastes, I started getting into a lot of the Seattle scene. Just because we're from Vancouver and Seattle was so close, I was into Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam, those bands.
Guns N' Roses was a huge one for me, and all the Seattle scene bands too were big for me.
Joe.
I was a little bit later after them, so I got.
Oh yeah, you're so young, dude. You're so young.
I like to make everybody aware of that. Yeah, so I'm the young one. Yeah, I kind of went in later a little bit, and I came into like the 311s and the Incubuses and all those kind of bands. Growing up, so that was a big influence for me.
Yeah, a lot of the same for me. I think the first was, Led Zeppelin for me. My dad was also a musician, so I got to hear all of the classic songs. And then once I got old enough, I would start jamming with my dad, go in there and play some Rolling Stones and stuff. But yeah, a lot of classic rock, some grunge. Yeah, thank you.
I didn't think of that. That Vancouver was probably at the time just really an extension of because they must have played. Did they play a lot of shows? Those Seattle bands.
Yeah, they came up.
I would say they did come up pretty frequently, but it seemed like the Vancouver border there was always a problem. I felt like 50% of the shows that were coming up from Seattle got turned around at the border and
Oh, really?
sent home. Huh. I'm like, hey,
Wonder
what's
why.
going on? They had a bunch of drugs in their Winnebago.
Yeah, they're Winnebago. I love it. Yeah, Seattle was like a 2-hour drive. 'Cause we always thought we were so close to Seattle, and then felt like it was channeled through us. Yep. And it was right in the time too, like '91, when we're all kind of getting into
high school,
getting into bands. And then Kurt Cobain died, and it was just like, let's go.
You guys actually, do I have this right? Matt Cameron, you guys were. What was your role in the Hero song from Spider-Man?
Yeah, so
Because Matt Cameron, if you don't know, drummer from Soundgarden, Pearl Jam,
Yeah.
Seattle connection, and then because this was a hell of a supergroup. It was like you, Josie from Saliva, Chad from Nickelback, and then Matt Cameron on drums.
that's right.
Right?
So
So it's supposed to be Jerry Cantrell that was going to play guitar. And then Randy Castillo passed away, a drummer that used to play for Ozzy Osbourne. And I guess Jerry Cantrell just MIA. He just didn't show up. And then we were making our record at the same time as they were making that song. And that's when Matt Cameron flew in, and that's when they asked you to play lead guitar on
I
it.
think it was you, Dave, or someone said, "What about Tyler?" And I'm sitting in the corner. I'm like, "What?" Tyler, get up here. And then I literally had to like go, and they pushed record, and I had to like figure out a guitar solo.
The best thing was that they were like doing wardrobe for the video at the same time as they were like putting the song together. And you were over there doing wardrobe, and Chad and Matt Cameron were talking about the song, and Chad said, "Dave, grab a guitar." So then I grabbed a guitar, and then Matt Cameron was telling Chad all the changes he should make. And it was like, Matt Cameron he's a god to me, man. I could not believe how amazing his ideas were. And I'm like playing them, I'm like, yep, that's better. Yep, okay, yep, good idea, that's better. And so it was fun for me because I was just sitting there jamming, just some kid jamming. Matt Cameron and Chad was there, and they were discussing how the song was going to be put together, and I was the guy playing guitar just for them to figure it out. It was cool.
Was that something that somebody else wrote for you guys, or did Chad write that song? Or?
Yeah, Chad was. That was just a song that he wrote, and I guess his band didn't use it.
Right.
So
Soundtrack, right?
I mean, there's great placement, man. It's a
Spider-Man.
huge movie when it comes out, and that's like the title track. You know,
That was the first thing for us. Like it was it's the Spider-Man soundtrack. So I was on the Hero song, and then we got one of our own songs, Invisible Man, on there. So that was 2001. When did that come out?
That sounds right. 2001.
So I remember being in the video. I had like a handlebar mustache. Some people can figure it out. Some fans are like, "What?
Yeah.
oh,
That's
great.
you."
Is there ever
Ask
talk?
me.
Is there ever talk to do something again, or is it just very obviously like like not to form a super group, but like there's a very obviously this is for the movie. We're all going to go our separate ways because the song was a huge hit.
Yeah, no, there was no time. I mean,
Yeah.
Matt Cameron had to go home. So he
left.
wasn't even in the video.
Yeah.
I think it was just something that Chad tried to throw together, and that was it.
Right on.
Yeah.
Cool. We're all out of fan questions. The important information, Say Nothing, the new album, out next Friday if you're watching this live, January 31st. Tour tickets are on sale, and if you're watching this live right now, these guys are going to treat us to a very nice, intimate performance. One more time for Theory, everybody.
What?
Thank you.